So what I have here is there's a pinhole right here in the side of this flex connector. These are the tools you're going to need, the items you will need to complete this job. We have a hacksaw. You don't have to have this particular. This is just one of my favorite. It's small, fits into tight places. You're gonna need something to tighten up and to take loose the end that's connected to the water heater. These are my pliers. Some sandcloth. This is a tool that we'll use to mark the depth when we put this fitting on to be sure that we seat it all the way. A deburring tool, a pin to mark the depth on this, and this is the pipe we're going to install. This is a shark bite fitting with a ball valve, a flex connector already made onto it. And so these are the things you'll need. Let's get started. Right behind all this solder that's right here, so I want to get into clean copper. So I'm going to cut right back here, and there's plenty of sufficient meat here to get a hold of. So I'm going to cut this. Now you do want to be sure that yours is pretty round, because that shark bite is very picky about what it will seal onto. But this pipe looks pretty clean, pretty smooth, and pretty round. So I'm going to cut it off right here. I'm not going to be able to show you that in the camera, but that's where I'm going to cut it, and then I'll show you what we're going to do after that. Now that I've cut that loose from there, I'm going to take the fitting here loose from the water heater. Set that down. So I have the fitting loose from here, I have my pipe up there, and we're going to take some sandcloth and our deburring tool. We're going to deburr the inside of the pipe by running this blade around the inside of this. We're just making sure that this edge is clean, and then we're going to clean the outside now with our sandcloth. Nice and clean. As you can see on my cut here, this is not perfectly square, and that's okay. We're just doing a temporary repair here. If you were going to leave this permanently, you might want to take a tubing cutter and make this really nice and square or true. Okay, so now comes our depth gauge, and as you can see on the depth gauge, it actually has, come on, focus in, it has sizes right down here. It says 3/4, half, it says 1 inch. I know it's not wanting to focus in. Oh, there it goes. So it says 3/4 here, and that's the size pipe we're doing. So what we want to do is we're going to put that on the pipe, and then we want to mark where the end of that gauge takes us to there. So right here where it meets the pipe, we want to mark this to be sure that we push our shark bite on all the way to make sure it's seated so that it does not leak. Okay, and we're gonna pull our gauge off. We're gonna insert our shark bite fitting. So the shark bite fitting goes onto the pipe here. I know it's hard to see, but my pin mark is actually right there. So we know that we've actually seated that all the way, and this is really important because otherwise this fitting will not seal and it will leak. So our last step is going to be to connect the flex connector to the top of the water heater. and then we can turn the water on and test it. And that's it for replacing that flex connector. They also sell one for the other side. If you needed to do the side without the valve, it would be the same steps, just no valve. They have one that has a shark bite fitting that would go on this side, just no valve. I mean, you could put a valve, but that'd be a lot of wasted money. You really only need the valve on the inlet.